Growing up, I have always struggled with my weight. I can remember being in kindergarten, first grade, being bullied for being the big girl, the too sensitive girl. One, if you're listening to this and you feel lost, please reach out to me. But two, just know that you're not alone. And if you're in the thick of an eating disorder, or you're in recovery, or you're even like thinking you could have an eating disorder and you're not sure, just know like you will get through it. And there are so many tools out there.
I want to give a shout out to Nina, who is the executive director for Women of Toledo, who brought me to you. And I'm a part of the Women of Toledo as well in her hub. And they do an amazing job of bringing a very diverse group of people. And oftentimes when people say they are a diverse organization, they really are just catering to their culture, right? Mm-hmm. That could be whether that's in the Middle Eastern, or whether that is a certain kind of religion, Christian, Muslim. What they say that we are a diverse organization just means that they are catering to their own culture. Yeah. Whereas the Women of Toledo caters to a very diverse group of people coming from all different walks of life. So I want to say, Nina, you do an amazing job. And
she's so amazing.
We're like, sis, you're doing a good job. I just want to say you're doing a good job. And so Sierra has certainly benefited you, of course, being in this amazing cultural melting pot of individuals and seeing people's color and valuing their backgrounds. And I thank you so much for that. And in fact, you are a product, and I know that you don't mind, or Nina doesn't mind me saying this, that Women of Toledo supported you to take advantage of coming to the Rise Advocates Academy. And I want to put a shout out to anyone who's in a nonprofit organization or in a corporation. You can get your organization to pay for you to attend the Rise Advocates Academy. And so, Sierra, Cece, you have a background though about you that you learned through the course that you want to bring out. You often have said your story has helped you see things differently. Tell me a little briefly about your story, because a lot of people need to know that we should be proud of our story. So share a little bit about that so we can learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So one thing that is really, really important to me is health and wellness, and not just seeing health as what we see so many times on social media. And I say this because social media is a huge part of our world. So, you get on social media and you see Instagram models and influencers who are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but they're not representing every woman out there. And growing up, I have always struggled with my weight. I can remember being in kindergarten, first grade, being bullied for being the big girl, the too sensitive girl. And I know now, like back then, obviously when you're a young girl and you don't understand why people don't like you, you feel so alone. And now I know like I'm not. But growing up, I had so many issues that until I have really started to work on them, I had an eating disorder. I'm in recovery from that. It's ebbed and flowed my entire life, pretty much. I have went through periods where I would rather starve my body than fuel it properly, just because I felt like that would make people like me more. Mm-hmm. And that would make me like myself more. Mm-hmm. And so much of my story relates to just wanting women, most importantly women, to feel whole in their body, because I know what it feels like to not feel whole, and I know what it feels like to look at yourself in the mirror and just hate what you see looking back. And it is the worst feeling. And I'm sure there's someone listening to this right now, and one, if you're listening to this and you feel lost, please reach out to me. But two, just know that you're not alone. And if you're in the thick of an eating disorder, or you're in recovery, or you're even like thinking you could have an eating disorder and you're not sure, just know like you will get through it. And there are so many tools out there. And so that's been a big part of me, is advocating for especially young girls, because nowadays, I've heard 4, 5, 6-year-olds say that they're fat. And I'm just like, that is not what you should be worried about. That is not a thing. It should never take the joy of a child away, for them to be worrying about weight. So that's been a big part of me. And I got to talk about that. And really that came out so much in the Rise Advocates course, because a lot of people, like my close friends and family, knew about my eating disorder, but I was really able to open up and be
Yeah.
okay with talking about it, and now
Yes.
be okay with being public about it and taking it. And so I can be, in my way, the rise advocate for me is to be able to speak to, especially like I said, to young girls and young
Mhm.
women who are struggling with that body image.
That's so important. And your voice is so necessary. And I'm so grateful that you were able to come to the Rise Advocates, because it's a diverse group of people there as well, right? To be able to speak about that in a way where you felt supported, you felt valued, and you felt seen. And I think it's so important for every one of us to find a community like that. You have to be in a community of people where you finally are being seen just for who you are, not because your eyelashes is cute, your eyebrows is on fleek, and your
Yeah,
hair is on point. I thought I did just shave mine the other
I
day,
do really
but
like your hair. I love
I
it.
just shaved it because I was like, why not?
Yeah, I love
But
it.
and so because you could just be you, boo, and just know that there is something that is, that makes you who you are. Tell me a little bit of this. What was one of your favorite exercises out of the Rise Advocates Academy that really sent a message to you that made you think differently? Because, oh, by the way, I want people to know that Sierra, she did a little art after a lot of our classes, and they were her notes. It was her notes and how she doodles, but makes them into these pieces of art that we shared. So thank you for that, because that was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, that was definitely one part. So if you haven't, figured it out by now, being someone that loves social media and design, obviously have a very creative brain, and the only way I
Yeah.
can pay attention in any type of course, it doesn't matter what course it is. The only way I'm paying attention is if I'm writing.
Yes.
So that was a big thing for me. But I think for me, the most eye-opening thing for me, and I didn't only do it at the beginning, I did it throughout the course, was the wolf exercise and what
Mm,
wolves are we feeding.
mm,
um and I
that's so
think
good.
that's really what helped me start to realize, like, hey, if you want to start a business, if you want to start a podcast, if you want to tell your story, like, stop being worried about what people are thinking, because that was a big wolf
Mhm.
for me. I was always stressed about what people were thinking about me and always worried about
Mm,
others' opinions. And
mhm,
I think I took from that, um, other people's opinions is none of my business. That's
mhm,
and I would have never started to think about life that way had it not been for facing my wolf head
mhm.
head on.
Yes.
I'm not feeling this wolf anymore. I'm not feeding you anymore. I'm done. And if people
Mhm,
don't like me, that's fine. Like, not
mhm.
everyone like you. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that exercise
Huge.
was huge for me.